So we're here at Money2020 Asia in Bangkok, and I'm here with Kevin Tay, Swift's Director of Strategy. Thank you for joining us today, Kevin.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks, Vincent.
Very good. So I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you and take the opportunity of meeting in this forum. So as we all know, the future of payments is all about instant and digital. What is your take on this?
Well, absolutely agree. I think that's first and foremost. Taking a macro view, if we look at what is happening around the world, the social and economic importance of global trade is undeniable. In 4 of the last 5 decades, the value of global trade has doubled. And at the same time, we are seeing a lot of people sending money internationally, whether is it migrant workers sending money back home to their families, or about e-commerce purchases. So the ease of travel and the ease of making all these transactions is really helping smaller companies to engage in international businesses more easily. So with that, the future of money being digital and instant really is very important, because that's helping to ensure smooth movement of money around the world. And to the end users, that will help them in transparent and frictionless transactions as well.
Okay, perfect. And we see a lot of interoperability in different schemes in Asia, especially. So it's a new way of doing basically cross-border payments. Has Swift worked on some of those elements, or are there any key initiatives from Swift on enabling those connections?
So yes, in fact, it's pretty recent that we have released our latest results on our collaborative CBDC sandbox experiment. That was about a month ago. So over the last 6 months, what we have been doing is working with about 38 global institutions on the second phase of our sandbox testing on our CBDC interlinking solution. And in fact, this is one of the largest CBDC experiments to date. But if I may just take a step back, since you spoke about interoperability, so talking about interoperability a little bit, that is really central to Swift's strategy of enabling instant and frictionless payments. And we wanted to be able to seamlessly interconnect different networks, both new and existing networks as well. So with that in mind, the way we have focused our innovation agenda on CBDC is really looking at how Swift can facilitate interoperability between digital currencies and tokenized assets, with the view that we want to overcome the potential risk of fragmentation. And we all know there are so many different financial institutions exploring CBDCs on their own. So there's a real risk of fragmentation over here due to the different technologies, standards, and protocols being used. So at Swift, we have been investigating what exactly is the role that we can play over here for quite a number of years now.
Okay, and looking at this, then what would you say is the next big innovation in the world of cross-border payments?
Well, that's a lovely question. I love that question. So I think when we talk about innovations in the future, maybe let me share 3 areas. The first is about ISO 20022. It's a big thing that everybody is talking about these days. So ISO 20022 is really set to become the common language that can enable interoperability, efficiency, and richer, more structured data exchange among financial institutions, among networks globally, and even going beyond existing networks. So once ISO is widely adopted, what we do see is it will unlock collaboration and opportunities towards a less fragmented payment world. So take for example, in the CBDC experiment that I had shared earlier, one of the key principles that the participants agreed to is to leverage on ISO 20022 as a basis for interoperability. So that's just as an example. So that's the first area. The second area is about uplifting of payment experience in the front end of payment providers. So ISO and a lot of things that we are working on is really at the back end, but we also want to take a look at the front end. So a bit of teaser for you, Vincent. In fact, at Swift, we are about to publish our paper, our article on Swift.com regarding our thought leadership and vision in payment experience. So do look out for that. We do see big potential in this area, and we are currently working with 25 institutions and also business application providers globally to look at how do we transform the payment experience offered to end customers, their end customers in their front end. And the third area, I think the buzzword is also about AI, so I will speak a little bit about AI. Well, in my opinion, I think there isn't many organizations around the world that can truly leverage AI in a very transformational way. And that's for good reasons, right? Because of the need for data, for the need for global reach, as well as for trust, where we need to trust the data. But recently, there are breakthroughs in federated learning and privacy-enhancing technologies that we think are now changing the game. So, for the first time, what these techniques enable is for multiple entities to come together and to be able to share insights.
Okay.
What this means is now the AI model can now be enhanced with data that is being held by multiple different entities. And that is being done in a way that is wholly anonymous, secure and confidential. We do think this has big potential to overcome industry-wide challenges such as fraud and money laundering. So I think these three areas, do look out for them. I do think they are the big innovations that will be coming.
Okay, very good. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Now maybe one last question before we wrap up. So what do you think would be your major takeaway from Money20 this year?
Well, that's interesting. I think this Money2020 event is really a good balance of coziness and electrifying energy, if I may put it that way, right? I had many conversations, and it's really amazing to be part of this energy where seeing so many people coming together to collaborate, to share ideas, and truly wanting to solve some real problems. And for me, definitely a privilege to be able to learn from everybody as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much
Vincent.
for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.